Dr. Alana DeGrassa here. I am so excited about this replay. You know, when I think about reaching new goals, especially during this pandemic, it can seem daunting, can't it? I mean, research shows that so many people have either, unfortunately succumbed to the COVID-19 virus, or if they're business owners, have been challenged to try to pivot immediately. And, some women are just trying to figure out, how do I actually become an entrepreneur and finally focus on the goals of taking care of me and becoming this new individual? Today, we talk about why it's essential to be in a tribe and to get the support that you need. And lastly, to take action. Because I know not everybody knows everybody, and we have some other people coming on. So I'll start with you, Miss Vicky. So Miss Vicky, I would say she was the UPML original. She remembers when we just started, and I had like 3 people, right? And she saw me on Instagram, of all things, and here we are, Miss Vicky. So I'm gonna let you say hi first, and tell me, how's it been since you've been in the tribe and all that good stuff. And how are you doing?
Everything is fantastic. I'm doing a lot better. Was with some friends and trying to relax, and so I started crocheting again. So I started making all these blankets, and I'm like, wow, that was pretty fast. And I'm just start making them, and pretty soon I'll start selling them.
Okay, awesome.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure, but soon.
All right. Yeah, she makes these beautiful crochet blankets. I'm like, you need to have them on Etsy. So that's going to be a whole different discussion. So,
right.
So welcome. Arnett, how you doing, love? You want to introduce, you've been a UPML original too. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hi. I mean, I'm not doing the best today, but I'm here. I'm showing up. I think I caught you on Instagram as well. And I've been apart for over 2+ years. So
I've developed almost 3 now.
Oh, it's 3 now? See, I lost track. It's been a while. So it's been good process of growth and just coming out of my shell. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's awesome to have you. Sarah is new to the tribe. Sarah, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm new here, and I found Dr. Alana through, I think first it was, some event she was having at Harvard right as COVID started. And I was like, oh, I want to go to this talk and talk to this woman and meet her. And they canceled it. And then she ended up facilitating a SCORE workshop online fairly recently, and I didn't even realize that it was the same person. And I was like, oh, let me sign up for this. And I was like, I remember from somewhere. And so I'm very glad to be here. And it's just been so encouraging meeting everyone and just hearing everyone's stories and struggles as well, because I think we're all going through some similar things, and it definitely is encouraging to me to just see people working towards their goals and trying to work it out and move forward.
Awesome. I love it. Marie, you want to say anything? I know you're also new to the tribe.
Yes. I'm Marie. I'm a wellness coach. I think I may have discovered you on LinkedIn, because I wasn't really that active on Facebook and Instagram until recently. So probably the professional platform where I was just connecting with different people. But yeah, I'm doing good, doing a lot of writing. So Great. A lot of poetry and gardening, calm the nerves.
I love it. Yes, I love gardening. Jen is in our BCM program. Jen, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, ladies. It's so nice to meet you guys. I'm also very, very new. I think I joined earlier this week.
Yeah.
I met Dr. Alana through a mutual, I want to say friend. He was helping me build my website, and he said, there's this woman I need you to meet, and you guys have so much in common. I think you guys would get along. I was like, okay. And then once I met Dr. Alana, I fell in love. So I'm so happy to meet you all and engage with you all and learn from you guys as well.
Awesome. Great. So today we have a great conversation, and we have others that'll probably join in. But I'm just going to start it right juicy. I'm just going to start it like juicy, juicy, juicy. And my question is, do you feel like women really either support each other or celebrate each other when they are on an entrepreneurial journey or when they are doing something fabulous? Do you feel like the support is there? And you can be honest. Look at Marie. She said, well, anybody want to, I mean, it depends on the group. Okay. All right. She says it depends on the group. Arnett, what about you?
I don't think so, honestly. I mean, I think that unfortunately, I think a lot of women are more competitive, and it causes some women not to be open enough to maybe share their knowledge, maybe support the next person, maybe because they're not, as open with their mind, maybe about whatever they're doing, if it's different. So for me, I think sometimes women can miss it with their self-confidence and not being confident enough. So they tend to be competitive instead of just helping each other grow and move forward.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. I'm going to switch gears here so I can get ready to open my slides. But thank you for answering that. I was looking at the research just a few days ago, and it was showing that out of all of the women or women of color, that 50% of them or so, or a little less, are unhappy right now. That's a lot of people. Like, that's a big percentage. And I'm sure that part of that is what's going on in the country right now. We've got, you do have a lot of people that are transitioning careers and all of these different things. And so I think it's going to be up to us as individuals to really think about and even put a plan together to ask ourselves as leaders, as entrepreneurs, how are we going to actually persist? So you guys, I want you to put that in the chat box. Like, how are you going to persist? I'm trying to let someone else in. While I do that, think about how are you going to persist and move forward given what's all going on? Because some people are going through, they've never been at home with their spouses as much as this time. They've never been at home alone as much as this time. And it's just not an easy time. Even if you have a job and you're home, or even if you don't have a job, it's just been very difficult for some people. So I'm going to ask you to think for a moment and put in the chat box, what are you going to do to, try to keep the ball moving forward? And while you do that, I'm just going to try to let someone else in. So keep thinking. All right, let's see what you guys have here. Learn to serve others more, prayer and engagement with other women. Yes. Ask how you can be more supportive. Yeah. I find ways to keep busy. Yeah. These are all great. And so I'm going to open up my slides for today. But yeah, I think that we're going to have to really find ways to be intentional. So a cool thing that I've decided is I always wanted to give back, but I was like, you know how you always hear these sponsor a child in the other part of the world go. And so I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do that. So I was able to get my sponsor child. Her birthday's on the same date as mine. She's 12 years old. She lives in Ethiopia. And I cannot tell you how exciting this is. And actually, I'm deciding that one of the things that Tolji will do is make sure that we kind of, with time, you guys can also learn how you can sponsor a child. I mean, I think that's awesome. And who would have thought that something so small can change someone's life? So for me, I'm like, one of the goals that I'm trying to do in the month of October, November specifically, is something called My Sister's Keeper, which is like, we are going to find a way to serve so many people in our own communities, within ourselves. I think that when we serve others, we don't even realize what we already have. So sometimes we're just looking out, but actually if we just look within, we'll be surprised at all the things that we can actually find. All right, so let me share my screen. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. So I know many of you are still pretty new, and what we've been talking about, I'm just scrolling through to where we need to be right now. What we've been talking about for the last 2 months is the fact that we are under construction, and I'm going to stop here. And one of the things that causes Great Depression is like a lot of resentment that sometimes women feel like they have. And this resentment comes because we have a lot of what we call if I moments. Well, if I had only taken enough vacations, if I had only rested more, if I only had said I loved you enough, if I had only danced more when I was younger, if I had only laughed more, if I had only believed more, if I had rested more, I would have felt better. And so a lot of times when we are thinking about where we are in life and the moments where we felt like we could have done more, we usually have resentments. So I'm going to ask you guys, have you ever had moments of resentment? Yes or no? I'm looking at you guys. Yes. You ever said, I wish I slept more. I wish I should have already had my book already done. I should have had this thing sent out. So a lot of us have these what if I moments. And I think the biggest thing is that research shows when they ask people who are terminal or getting ready to leave the planet, what are the things that they resent the most? Many of them say some of these things I have here. If I had only, I worked a lot, but if I had rested a little more, if I could have laughed a little more, like we need to laugh. We need to find ways to have, more fun. We need to find ways to, okay, this is a big one, leave non-productive relationships. And non-productive relationships, those are hard because we love people we love. But sometimes when you're in a new season and you're trying to do what we say, UPML, upgrade my life, you have to start looking at your environments. And if you don't have the right people in your environments, like that's a problem. That's going to bleed into how you perceive what you're doing in the future. So I always say to my tribe, every January, I do a friendship analysis check. And every January, I list all my however many people, the top 8 or whatever, and I rate it 1, non-productive, 10, oh my gosh, off the chain. Now, if you do that on your own, and let's say I'm making this up, let's say you have 10, and out of the 10, 6 of those are 4, we got a problem. Or out of that, 3 of those are a 5, we got a problem because we don't even realize that the more we hang around unproductivity in terms of helping us to elevate where we're at or trying to move forward, it seeps into us. So indifference is also something that can seep into us. And, so these are some of the things we want to think about. And the moment you really, really say, I'm ready to upgrade, that's when everything changes. I mean, I love flying first class, right? And I remember there was one flight my husband and I were taking to Europe, and we were sitting in business, and they said, oh, there's room in first class. Would you like an upgrade? Of course. So we go and we're upgraded up to the front, and everything changes. There's more space in the front, we can lay down. It's just great. And sometimes we are so used, okay, you can say that was for me, but sometimes we can be so used to things being broken, we are comfortable with it. It doesn't mean that it's the best thing for us. Have you ever remembered when you were a teenager and someone had a hoopty and it was like, well, hit the door 3 times, then the thing will pop up and then you can open the door, and it works, but it's not the best, but it works, right? So we all have had that. So I want us to think about, well, what will it mean for me moving into 2021? And hopefully we're all safe, praying for us all. But what will it mean for me to really, really leave these resentments and move forward? Well, one of them is to really look at the things we said, I wish I would have, fill in the blank. So I want you to take a time. You don't have to write it in here if you don't feel comfortable, but even in your notebook, what are the things? What are the tolerations that you are accepting, right? So for me, I looked in the mirror. I can tell you guys every year also, you do that let me take it all off, stand on a scale. Am I tolerating this, or am I doing something about it? So, or my bank account, am I just tolerating this, or is there something I can do to increase or level up what I'm actually doing so that I can be more resourceful? So we have to think about that. The other piece is, am I resting enough? Am I sleeping enough? Do I believe in the skill sets that I actually have? So many of you have like some amazing skill sets, but sometimes self-doubt is a big is a big variable that contributes to whether or not people really persist. So just think about this as you move forward. So regret is a negative cognitive emotional state that involves blaming ourselves for a bad outcome, feeling a sense of loss or sorrow at what might have been, or wishing we could undo a previous choice that we made. So yeah, I have a booklet called the Women Build Confidence booklet. And one of the things in the last chapter says, wipe the slate clean. Like, give yourself permission to just say, you know what, the last 7 months sucked, I'm starting over. And if you do that, you kind of allow yourself to say, okay, maybe it wasn't perfect or whatever I tried to do. And there are a lot of different types of leaders. There are the leaders that are like, you can tell me which one you're like. There are leaders that as soon as something starts, they're like, yes, I'm going to do it. They are all in. Oh my goodness. They got the t-shirt, the booklet, everything. They took a photo and they've been sharing with you all that they're going to do. Then you have other leaders who they might be so technical that they are going to analyze every little component until they don't do anything. And they're going to analyze, all of the, they're going to analyze everything, and they're going to just say, I want to know point A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And they're just going to keep analyzing everything until they just talk themselves out of it. So I want you to know that every single day, you're either opening up to a new opportunity, or maybe you're shutting a door, or maybe you don't even realize that you have an opportunity. So the door has been shut for quite some time. So I just want you to think about that. And then one of the things I talked about is when you have if you're a leader that has a lot of ideas, right, but they never actually take off, or they all, somehow fizzle out. It's almost just like having a trash dump, because you just see all these ideas and all these dreams and all this stuff, but then you can't really make sense of it all. So, it's kind of like we really need to think about what happens when we have too many goals and too many things we're up to and too many things. Well, sometimes we have self-sabotage. Sometimes we abandon our goals altogether, or we have what I call lethargic momentum. Like, we were really ready to go, and then like 4 months in, we're like, wait a minute, what was I doing again? I don't even remember why I was doing it. So there are so many things that happens, and then we get lost in life translation, and then many of us are just busy with life too. So it is difficult to focus on your dreams and all of that, and then have your regular job, paying your bills, all that other stuff. So I'm going to just ask you in the chat box, what is resonating with you right now? What do you feel like when it comes to the type of leader you are? Are you someone who's like really strong in the beginning, or are you someone who kind of slowly analyzes everything until all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? What kind of leader are you? I'm going to ask you that. All right. And so today I was talking a little bit about how, 52% of women of color are not happy right now. In terms of employment, many service-oriented businesses like waitresses, daycare workers, hairstylists, hotel maids, dental hygienists, many others, 20.5 million people watched their jobs vanish in April. But it's not just these industries, so many other industries. So a lot of people are being impacted. Unemployment rate at 14%, worse than the Great Depression. I mean, I don't know if you guys are thinking about anything, but it does, you can really feel so sad. I mean, am I by myself? Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't even watch the news because it's just too much. But to the flip side of that, right, it's kind of like, what are we going to do about it? And so I want us to realize, like I said it before, there are really opportunities all around us, opportunities and, self-perception, looking at how we view ourselves as a leader, or looking at goal attainment, looking at clarity as far as where we want to be. So there's always our opportunities around us. And I'm going to just ask us for a second to, actually, let me just look at some of what you guys are saying. I'm stronger in the beginning, Arnett says. Hey, Karen, he logged on. I spend too much time thinking and worrying about not being good enough that it can hinder my progress. That's a good one. Karen says, I'm strong in the beginning. Then if immediate success does not come, I get disappointed and perhaps I do chase the shiny penny. Wow, that's really, thank you, Karen, for sharing that. Ooh, Vicky says, I self-sabotage. I'm also strong in the beginning. Jen says, I'm not on purpose, Vicky says. And Jen says, then it tapers off. All right, good. So yeah, we can see all the things. Dealing with rejection is real. Wow, Marie, you just dropped a bomb. That's so true. So if we think about all of those things, okay, I'm going to be so real. When I was starting my company, right, no one knew what I was doing at the time. And I remember telling a few friends what I was doing. And they were like, so what are you going to do about healthcare? And what are you going to do about this? And what are you going to do about that? And that's not normal, you know, and not that they were not supportive because they love me, but I realized I needed to go to a different environment because I was like, I can't, in this delicate time, I cannot be in an environment of fear. If I'm in an environment of fear, I will not do anything. I probably will be like, yep, you're right. Let me go take that 9 to 5. But I had to, so I had to kind of go through what I call these lonelypreneur moments. I didn't stay there long, but I did have to have a few lonelypreneur moments where I'm like, no, this is